Welcome back to another episode. Today I'm talking about my first move. When I first moved out of, I lived with my brother before I moved out. This is not the college one. Of course, when I was going to college, I also moved out of my brother's house, but it was different. The rent was still being paid by him. The food was still being supplied, him, my mom. And I was still kind of a dependent, College gives you a false sense of independence, by the way. But things are still controlled or still managed or still facilitated by someone else. I'm talking about my first move. I already got my job and now going into my own place, right? Sleeping on my own bed. And actually buying that using my own money and all that. It's a lot. It's quite a lot if you ask me. So that's where I am today, talking about what honestly happened when I transitioned into my own place. And free information. I didn't want to move out. I did not. I did not want to move out. At that stage, I've already finished my college. I'm already working. I think just a few months into the job, and my brother and the spouse go, well, now you have a job, and now we think it's time for you to make the move and be independent. And I didn't want it, but it came. So I think my hesitation, number one, was because I love the warmth of being around people. And number two, I love kids. And there were kids in the house. 2 young kids. I considered them my daughters. To be honest, whenever I even left for college and went for 3-4 months, I missed them dearly. When I got back, almost everything I carried was for them. It was full of clothes and shoes and toys. You would think I actually had my own children, but yeah. So I felt like going to my own place was me going to be lonely. And then again, I think our Kenyan structure is just that of we rarely leave home because you have to. It's at some point the push has to happen. So the push came, and I still remember that first night sleeping in my own place because it was a little far from where I was. My brother's house was close to everything. It was like a short distance into the CBD, so it was a very, very convenient place to be. I didn't want to go somewhere because where I worked versus where he lived was very close, so it provided a convenience there. And moving further away was what I could afford because living in close proximity to the CBD means you're gonna pay a lot, and you just starting out, it's a starter place. You will have a 1-bedroom or just a studio or something like that. So those calculations, I didn't even want to deal with them. It felt very different. So I had to buy new stuff. I had to get a new bed, a new mattress, a new fridge, and for a while I didn't even have seats in that house. Honestly, I didn't even have seats in that house. Until I moved out of it, I didn't take even, I think I took only a year in that place and there were no seats. You know why? Because I rarely had people over. And I just left in the morning, came back in the evening. Most of my weekends I still spent at my brother's house. Because I wanted to be with the kids. And also went to church. So in as much as there was the independence that came with that, there was still like, I'm gone, but I'm not gone. I'm gone, but I'm not gone. When I was in my own house, I felt like there's no one in the next room I could talk to. No one is checking in with me. There were no kids laughing. There was no background noise. That was not mine. It was so silent. And it was in a neighborhood that I'd never lived before. Everything was so strange. you know? Anyway, I'm Lydia. I share real life stories about life and transitions no one prepared us for. Just so we don't have to navigate them alone anymore, at least someone else not having to navigate them. Look at me, I still have feelings about about what happened then. Moving out felt like an achievement, by the way. Independence, space, freedom. This is mine. Nobody can tell me what I should do. But what I didn't expect was that emotional shift. When you leave home or the place that raised you, even if you were ready, you really feel it. You are no longer someone's responsibility in the same way. You are not supervised. You are self-governing. And no one really teaches you how to emotionally separate while still staying connected. I had to learn how to structure my own life, how to handle my own bills, how to sit with my own thoughts and not have company all the time, how to build routines without being told, you know? Independence is quite exciting, but it can also feel very lonely. So I hope if you're in that season right now, the discomfort doesn't mean that there's anything wrong or that you're a failure or something. It just means that you're becoming someone else. You're becoming the boss of your own space. You're learning to use your own finances for something else that other than just clothes and shoes. Sometimes you will not have you won't even have money for clothes and shoes because the rent has to be paid, the electricity, the what, and you gotta figure out even how to have a social life as well. So the change is major and you have to be prepared. Financial literacy then comes into play because you're also a young adult learning to probably start investing. I didn't have any of those lessons, you know. If not for what was available at work as financial products, I don't think I ever knew how to save because nobody had that conversation with me. How to invest, how to budget, and then it becomes something. Your life just becomes a matter of I earn and I spend. So there's a lot that needs to be learned. You know, how to even put bills on autopay, how there's a gazillion things. And if you're guiding someone through that transition, and even if you haven't thought about it, please help to guide them. Because support doesn't just end when they move out. It just changes their dynamics. They are developing a new identity, and identity takes time to settle. And don't feel bad if they're coming back home a lot often. Don't feel bad if they're asking for some support financially a lot often than you think. So try to invest in giving them the tools, like, you know, financial literacy, how to balance, how to budget, how to manage your money, how to prioritize expenses, how to make sure that, you know, they're well financially. That is a big missing part. And other things as they have fun to manage other things, and particularly the emotional side of things, it can feel very heavy. Oh, I still feel it today. But yeah, I hope you learned something from this. If this resonated, let me know what your first move was and how you settled, and if there's any support you got and how that went. Please share, please subscribe, and come back because I'm sharing this in sequences of the seasons and the transitions that I went through, so we can use them as some teachable moments. So see you next time, probably tomorrow. Bye.